Hello, very good morning, students. Now we discuss about computer networks in switching networks. So in this under topic, we discuss about packet switching and circuit switching. First of all, we know the terms of what is switching. In larger computers, there are multiple paths from sender to receiver. The messages are passed from one network to another one network, like source to destination. The switching technique, how to decide which is the best route for the data transmission. That is the technique of using in a switching technique. So we can access the internet or any other computer in a system. For example, LAN connection in access of a network, the messages are sent through the computer using in a transmission media. So already discussed in a transmission media of how the data are transmitted from one cable to another one cable of fiber optic cable, coaxial cable. Okay. So this and all is transferring the information from one computer network into another one computer network. So such a things are development of using the techniques that is called in switching. So what is switch? So in a large networks, if we take example in a internet, we have to access the data minute by minute, isn't it? Okay, so we have to achieve the 100% internet of in a LAN area network using in a World Wide Web. So in this achievements are how it is possible using in the terms in a switch. So the switch are the combination of hardware and software devices. It is capable of creating temporary connections between two or more devices linked to the switch. Is a very exact meaning of given in a switch. So hardware or software devices capable of creating temporary connections between two or more devices linked to the switch. It is connected with each other, okay, but not each other. How to connect all the devices of enable the networks. So more or less in this device which connects multiple communication lines together. Yes, one or more large networks are connected through in the network path. Okay. So the switching technique also used to connect the systems for making one-to-one communication, one-to-many communication, many-to-many communication, then many-to-one communication. These and all classification of using in switching techniques. So then the next slide briefly given that of switched network. So the switch network is the series of interlinked nodes. Yes, interlinked nodes are connected. How to deciding the path between sender and receiver. When make the connection or establish the connection between one or more computer, the switching is establish the communication, how to decide which is the path, how to send and receive the messages in between. So here in that of end-to-end path communication is exist when before the communication takes place. Wherever the path is, it takes place in that how to find to complete the end-to-end path communication. So these and all achieve in that of switching between two or more devices linked to the switch. Some of the switches are connected to the end system. That is one system into another one system, how to be used in a routing. So that is the concept of using in a switched network. We have to decide fixed data. Fixed data can be transferred at a time in a switching technology. Can select the path, which path is how to fastly send the data from source to destination. So that is how to fix the data can be transferred at a time using in a switching technology. Here in the top, only devices can connect the and establish the connections between two or more devices. Can able to understood? Okay. So this is the basic principles of using in a switched network. Here in this figure, the switches are connected through in a path. So from sender to receiver A to F. Okay, so all the switches are labeled using in a nodes. So the series of interlinked nodes, that is called switches. So the next slide, why switching is required. In the top, communication or establish the connection between two or more computers is called communication or a network, isn't it? Okay. So the switching in a computer network by using more hardware devices. So small devices are connected to transfer the data between one host to another one host, like that of sender to receiver, source to destination. These and all terms are used in a multiple path, takes the multiple path when the data to transfer, isn't it? Okay, that is called in a local area connection. So we know that of why switching concept is required. I take example in that of the devices are only simple to act in a communication of network, isn't it? Okay, so the purpose of using in a switching, the more devices are when transfer the data, it consider in that of capacity and then capable of data rate, how to be transferred from one source to another one destination. So depends on the capable of the data and the transfer the capacity of the data within a bit rate. Okay, so using in terms bandwidth and using the terms in bandwidth. So bandwidth bandwidth means it is a maximum transfer rate of the cable. Yes. So this is the performance of deciding the data where transferred from one source to another one destination. So depends on the speed of the network, the data how to fixed from one source to another one destination, from one host to some other host of the some other host to communication of multiple network, isn't it? Okay, so the bandwidth is defined as the maximum transfer rate of a cable. So first of all, fix the bit rate, how fast and then how recover the data, how send the data and how receive the data is depends on the bit rate. Okay. So the second one, in between of the data sent from sender to receiver, the more data are continuously passed to the network of one host to another one host. The devices are sometimes confused that which data is first, after that another one data can transfer from source to destination. So here is occurred in a collision. So the collision is the effect that occurs when more than one device transmit the message over the same physical media and they collide with each other. So that is whenever the more data are sent from host to host, the devices are cannot able to transmit the data in the same physical media. If we take example, in that of we have to send a message to in a Gmail or WhatsApp. Okay, so depends on the data rate, that is bit rate of frequency, how to decide the data of when fastly recovered from here and there of in social network. Okay, so that is in a collusion. Okay, so sometimes cannot able to identify the data which is required in a time, so that is called in a collusion. So here in a network of in a switching network is depends on the only in the devices. So small pieces of data have to be connected, that is called in a hardware. So using in a two metrics, that is bandwidth and collusion, how to occurs the data. Then the next slide, this is the diagram to represent switching networks types. That is a classification of switching techniques. So basically in that of switching networks, here switching networks, first of all circuit switched networks, the packet switched network, then message switched networks. So again the packet switched networks are classified to datagram networks and virtual circuit networks. So primarily having the networks are classified into circuit switched network and packet switched network. Okay, so the switching methodologies are how to transfer the data using in a hardware devices through in a physical media, isn't it? Okay, so wherever the data is sent from one source to another the destination, how to decide the types of network, whether circuit switched network, another one is a packet switched network. So now see one by one. The first of all we discuss about circuit switching technology of computer networks in a switching technology. So circuit switching is a technology. It is established and decided the path between sender and receiver. Okay, so it is consists of set of switches connected by physical links. Yes, they again told that in that of in a circuit switched network using in a physical media, physical links, interlinked nodes. Okay, so this is the terms of used in a circuit switched networks. Okay, so this technique, once the connection is established, then how to decide will retain the what are the exist paths are available until the connection is terminated. Okay, first of all we have to establish the connection. So the connection establishment, after that connection disconnected. Okay, so this is a two metrics are first used in a sender to receiver. So the connection between two station, how to able to establish when identifying decided path between two or more physical media. Okay, so once the connection have to be established, then the decided path will retain to exist until the connection is terminated. Okay, if we communicating through in a Teams network, isn't it? But first of all, we have to connect the networks, isn't it? Okay, so internet connection, the internet connection, we have to use the more media nowadays, that is in a Wi-Fi or mobile data using in a hotspot. Okay, so the such a technologies are can able to decide the path of communication when disconnected through in a communication of the network, isn't it? Okay, we have to start the class. After that 1 hour or 2 hours we have to take it the class. So once the connection is established, whenever maintain to retain the existing connection. So we have to not only use it in a teams of in a classes, isn't it? Okay, we have to use in a during the session mail or such things how to be searched. Okay, so these activities are we have to working in the top once we establish the connection. After we have disconnect the connection between the transmission of data from one source to another one destination. So the circuit switching is a network. It operates in a similar way as the telephone network. Yes. So this is a one example we have to understood of when once the communication established and then after that disconnected, isn't it? Okay. So any one person have dialed the number using in a telephone networks or mobile network, whatever, isn't it? Okay. So the communication in between of the communication between the devices are used in a one node to another one node, isn't it? Okay. Telephone networks. So a complete end-to-end path, it must exist whenever the connection is disconnected. After make another one call of communication you in terms of telephone network, isn't it? Okay. So the connection between two station is a decided path. It is made one or more links, isn't it? Okay, so only one decided channel on each link. Each link is decided into n channels using the frequency of mode, that is in terms of module. Okay, so this is the circuit switching technique where using the wants to send the data whatever in that of mode, either video, audio, text messages, animated pictures, animated videos. Okay, so these and all achieve in a switching technique nowadays in internet communication. So the circuit switching, it is received the signal. This depends on the whether the communication is established or not. Okay, so using in the term acknowledgement. Okay, so it is how to decide the path when the transfer the data when acknowledged. So when acknowledged data using the decided path in a communication, how to decide from source to destination. The circuit switching, how communication, how to set paths. First one is connection setup, and then another one is a connection tear down. So that is called a circuit, that is communication establishment, and then communication disconnected. In between of how the data transferred from one host to another one host up. So the three setup phases are used in a communication of network from multiple network of communication. So the three phases are connection setup, the data transfer, connection tear down, or connection establishment, data transfer, connection disconnected. So the terms are used when communication communicate to two parties or multiple parties in over the network. What is the communication path of a communication establishment, that is setup phase? So the setup phase, before that, the data transfer from one devices to another one device, they using the format of space division switching. So they convert the frequency into data module. So the space division switching can be achieved by using in the crossbar switch. So over the network, the communication is established after the data transfer. Finally, the D down, that is connection disconnected. So the disabled of the data only achieve using in the crossbar switch using in a semiconductor gate can established by the control unit. Can you able to understood? Okay. So the multiple paths are using in this stage only decide the crossbar switch. Another one is in the deep down phase of networking. Okay. So the first of all, the setup phase, it means the creating decided channels between the devices. So whenever the two devices are there, what are the path is when taking the data from one source to another one destination. So first establish the communication, then decide the hardware devices data how to transferred selected in the which is the best path. So traveling sales or minimum frequency path, router path, then link state routing algorithm, then these and all algorithms are one of the techniques used in circuit switching network. So this type of network communication is a physical, decide the physical path in data transfer in a single communication between two endpoints of the network for the duration of the decided path from one to many computers, isn't it? Okay. So the telephone system network, already I told that it is one of the example of using in a circuit switching network, isn't it? Okay. So here in that of telephone system, how the data are carried from two way. What is in a time division multiplexing, another one is frequency division multiplexing. The two methods are using in multiple signals to carry the data from one to many. So the frequency division multiplexing, that is FDM. It takes multiple paths. It paths to be divides, that is divides into multiple bands. The frequency division multiplexing, when multiple data signals are combined for simultaneous transmission, it is shared communication media. It is very important how to share the communication in a media. So it is selective bandwidth. Okay, the first of all, the switching is how two merits, isn't it? One is a bandwidth is divided into the series of non-overlapping frequency in sub-bands. So devices are shared from more bands. It is practically achieved in a divide the bands. Okay, so that is in a FDM, that is a frequency division multiplexing. So another one using in a time division multiplexing, it divides the methods into frames. So in a frequency is divides in a multiple bands. Here divides into frames. So division multiplexing means it transmitting and receiving independent signals over a common signal path by means of synchronized switches at each end of the transmission line. So it is used for long distance communication links and beats and heavy data traffic loads from end user. So the time division multiplexing is also known as digital circuit switched network. So in a circuit switched network, the best example for in a telephone network system, first of all, we know that of how to decide the path and receive the data to provide within a data rate. Okay, so the two methods are using, one is FDM and TDM. So frequency division multiplexing, another one is time division multiplexing, isn't it? Okay. So in that of circuit switching network, the another one is a good example for in a set of paths and data transfer phase and T down phase. The amount of data transfer, it depends on the host A to host B. It is over the circuit switched network that use the time division multiplexing. So the bit rate are represented in the megabytes per second. So the how many circuit switches are established within a time. So these and all how to be calculated the time to manage the network's data from one source to another destination. So the next slide is a trivial circuit switched network. The trivial circuit the trivial circuit switching network, the connection when established between two stations, how to decide the best path and made connection into the one or more links, isn't it? Okay. So, however, the each connection use only decided channel on each link, which is the best path which is and shared the link among them, isn't it? Okay. So, the each link is normally divided into n channel. So using in frequency multiplexing and time division multiplexing. So the two methods are how to decide the and establish the connection of frames and the bands, isn't it? Okay. So the trivial circuit switching networks using in a four way of networks, isn't it? Okay. So in this four way of networks, take A and then M. So that is source to destination, isn't it? Okay. So the in this system, each link is divided into n channels. If I take example in that of it is directly connected to the switch, isn't it? Okay. So see in this figure, in the telephone system, telephone systems are how to connect through in a cable. Okay. So from station into home, office, or whatever the places is, isn't it? Okay. So though that is called one source, another one end destination, isn't it? But the source is in a telephone channel, so establish more links, isn't it? But in a office home, only take the connections of in a data links is one or two or three or five, such that, isn't it? Okay. So the end system in communication, that is M. The system A needs to request a connection to M. Yes, that is accepted by all the switches by M itself. So this is called a set of phase. Can you able to understood? Okay. So if A needs to request the connection to M, first of all, need the connection. If it is M is accepted by all the switches as well as by M itself. Okay. So the second one is the connection is takes place from established and data transfer from one to many. So after that the data is transferred, isn't it? Okay. So that is we have to make the call through one telephone number into another one telephone number. We take example, you can make call to your friend. Okay. So we first of all dial the number. Okay, that is a connection establishment. Okay, once the connection established, how to identify? Dial the ring, isn't it? Okay, so dial the ring. After once you pick the call, so other side of your friend. Okay, so you have to speak something literally establish the communication. Okay, so when your friend finally disconnect the connections, that is a receiver to uh, down in the mobile, sorry, telephone. Okay, so automatically, so both the connections are disconnected. Okay, so that is the after all the data have been transferred, the circuit are disconnected or down phase. Okay, so the circuit switching takes place at the physical layer. So this is a trivial circuit switched network. So here another one in this trivial circuit switched network is acknowledgement from system M, and then what the data to be sent, the direction to the system A to system the end system of M. Okay, so the acknowledgement means when the when the speaker speak to another one end system, automatically the link to be disconnected. Okay. So in this circuit switched network, the data transferred between the two stations are not packetized. Okay, so it is called it is received the data from source station into destination station. Okay, here no addressing are involved during the data transfer. Of course, this is the end-to-end point establishing the connection between one link to another more link, isn't it? So the T down phase and setup phase and the data transfer phase, how to decide. Okay. So here the efficiency of the data transfer in trivial network, it can be achieved in a networks is not efficient because two types of networks have to be shared the resources and allocated during the entire duration of the connection. So these resources are unavailable to other connections. So which resource is available when make the connection? So once the connection is established using in the resources, other connections are automatically disconnected. Okay, so these resources are unavailable to other connections. The efficiency is not good. Okay, here in the top another one is a delay in a trivial circuit switched network. So in this figure, the delay is calculated only in a time manner. Okay, the data transfer using in a efficiency manner. Once the connection is established, so how way of data transfer from A to B, that is source to destination using in a time manner. Okay, so this delay, the types of network is totally minimal. So during the data transfer, the data are not displayed at each switch. So the sources are allocated for the duration of the connection. So all the resources are allocated the during the time when the data is not transfer the data, that not transfer the connection between one source to another one destination. So automatically the data to be delay in a communication. So in this circuit switching of efficiency and delay is given the another one is advantages, that is called no waiting time at each switch. Once the total delay is due to the time related to create the connection, transfer rate and disconnected the circuit network. So delay time is compared to the waiting time is a very less. So data transfer time is how depends on the two parts. It's one is a propagation time, another one is a data transfer time. So the propagation time is means slope of the time. So here this is the slope of the time. Okay, so slope of the time is represent in the top colored. Okay, so in that data transferred is used in the top in a time manner of data transfer. So this is the circuit switched network. So the what is the advantage disadvantages of using in a circuit switched network? This is the next slide. So once the decided path is established, the delay occurs in the speed of the data transmission. So this is the disadvantage, because how once the connection is established, the resources are shared in among the connection. So after that, when making the connection, have to be rest. So this is the disadvantage. So also efficiency and the delay time to be increased. Okay, so this is the total disadvantages of in the circuit switched network. So here the question session how to discuss in circuit switched network the required resources for communication between end system are reserved for the duration session the between the end system dash method that is called in a circuit switching. So that is in the end system. Another one is it is reserved for the to share the resources. The second question, as the resources are reserved between two communicating end system in circuit switching, dash achieved. So authentication, guaranteed constant rate, reliability, store and forward. So here the guaranteed constant rate, isn't it? Yes, the resources are shared in a communication of end system in a circuit switching is achieved in a constant rate because in a trivial circuit switched network guaranteed once the data transfer from one source another one end system is reached the data. Okay, so third one, which of the following is not an application layer service? So file transfer, these and all used in that of a message circuit switched network. So the second one, packet switched network. So the in a switched networks classification how two-way one-net circuit switched networks. Okay, now we discussed. So the next one is a packet switched network. So the packet switched network. So the messages are so the packet switching networks, the packets are divided into, so that sorry, the messages are divided into packets. So we have to send n number of messages, okay, that is called in a data. So all the messages are divided, very long messages are whatever in that of, okay. So this is called in a divided into packets. So the packet switching is a method of transferring the data to a network. So transferring the data to a network. So in the form of packets, in order to transfer the file this effectively and fastly manner to the network and how to minimize the transmission latency. So the data is broken into small pieces of packets. So the length of the packet, how to decide the uh, data rate in the manner. So in this network, the messages are divided into packets. Okay. So how to minimize the data transmission using in the top, we achieve the in the divide of packets. Okay. So all the small parts of the data how to be reassembled in a same way, that is small packets of data how to be divided. After that the data are reassembled in finally disconnect the data. So the packet composes of payload and various control informations are needed to send the data. Okay, so the allocation of the data is first come and first serve based. So the packets are receives it must process and then create data transfer from one place to another one place in the form of packets. Okay. So here in that of packet networks classified into first is datagram networks. Okay. So before that, the advantages of packet network is more efficient is compared to the circuit switched networks because the packets are connected into two way of divided into two packets, isn't it? Okay, small packets. Okay, how to achieve the data in a switched packet switched networks, that is two way. What is one is connection oriented and another one is another connection less packet switching. So connection oriented packet switching, connection less packet switching. Okay, so the connection oriented connection less is represented in the datagram networks and the virtual circuit network. Okay, so here the 2.1 datagram networks is represent connection-less packet switching. So unlike the connection-oriented packet switching, the switching of each packet is all the addressing information such as the source or destination address and the port numbers, etc. This is called a virtual circuit network. But in a datagram networks is created depends on the routers routes. So it is a decision of made dynamically. So the packets are arrived, the destination might be out of order. So it has no connection setup and a D-down phase like virtual circuits. So the packet delivery is not a guarantee to connectionless packet switching. So reliable delivery must be provided by end system using the additional protocols. That is, we have to attach the data type of packets. All the data are reached to the destination. This is reliable data how to be achieved. Okay. So all the packets are same message may travel the different path to reach their destination from one source to another one destination. So the routers in a datagram networks using the same message, but many different paths are choosing when reach the destination because it is involved to carrying the packets from other sources. It is having the only necessary data how to be transferred and carry from A to X. So in this approach of a datagram of transmission to arrive the destination in order to with the different delays between the packets. So the datagram networks are sometimes is referred as a connectionless networks. Already I told that. So the datagram switching is done in the network layer. So in this approaches of datagram of transmission, it is a delay in out of different data packets. So when it is during the transmission, whether the packets are lost or dropped because the lack of resources are available, so the data packets are lost. So during the packets are lost, the upper layer of the protocol to record the datagrams to ask the which data is lost. After that, recovering the data from one application to another one application of the data. So the datagram networks are referred to connection networks. There is no setup phase or D-down phase are available. Okay, it is a purely connectionless data. The data are divided into packets into from 1 to many. So how the data packets are routed to their destination. So using inter-top method is called router table, so the routing table. So the routing table is a very important how to using in a datagram network. So the routing table, which is based on the destination address. It is purely based on the destination address. So the routing tables are dynamic and are updated periodically. So once the data are used in the table, so it is decision making that it directs the network packets from their source toward the source to destination, where the intermediate network nodes by specific packet forwarding mechanisms. Okay, here the destination address, and then another one is called output port. Okay. So the destination address is the header of the packet in the datagram network. It remains the same during the entire journey of the packet. So when the data forwarding using different routing packets are used. So routing information protocol, inter gateway protocol, then another one is open shortest path first protocol, exterior gateway protocol, border gateway protocol. These and all approaches are using in a routing table how to find the destination address using in a routing table. So how to find the efficiency in a routing table? So better than in the top circuit switched network, the resources are allocated when the resources are allocated when there are packets to be transferred. If a source sends a packet and their delay of a few minutes before another packet can be sent, the resources can be reallocated during these minutes for their packets from their other resources. So the switching of the resources is how to be allocated using the efficiency of the. So the switching in the internet is done by using the datagram approach. The packet switching at the network layer. So here the represent the delay in a datagram network, how to find the total delay. Before that, in a circuit switched networks, how to find the delay using in a time manner, isn't it? Okay, so here the transmission and then propagation times, how to be find the time delay. So in between of during the time the data is transferred using in a waiting times. How to calculate total delay equal to 3D plus 3t small t plus W1 plus W2, that is the total waiting time of and the propagation time and the transmission time of total delay. So the second one is a connection oriented packet switched network, is also called virtual circuit networks. So the virtual circuit network virtual circuit networks, it is a cross between circuit switched network and a datagram network, and it has some characterized are both. So the both networks are combined used in the virtual circuit network, that is in a connection oriented. Okay. So the packet switched networks transfer the data from source to destination, isn't it? Okay, so each packet contains the destination where it has received. So this type of communication between receiver and the sender is a connectionless. So the internet is also used in the connectionless network. So here in that of most of the traffic over the internet access using in the packet switched network. Okay. So in that of virtual circuit switched network is established between source and the destination through any during any call. The path establishment is a 2 point appears how to be decided in the physical circuit. Therefore, it is called a virtual circuit in the type of packet switching. It is a connection oriented service, isn't it? Okay, where the first packet is goes and then receives the resources for the subsequent packets are sent from source to destination. So for example, in Ethernet of Ethernet X 2.5 how to be used where the frame and delay how used in a packet switched network of. So in this diagram sender A in this diagram sender A establish the call the request the connection to connect with the receiver. The receiver B establish a call accepting the connection to connect with the sender. Okay, so take example in that of in a telephone network system, isn't it? The receiver A, receiver B, the connection is established. After accepting the connection B, okay, how to transfer the data. The data will be transferred whenever the router is established. So the node 1 and the node 2 are transfer the node between sender to receiver automatically the communication to be disconnected. Okay, so the clear signal signal is transferred the data from sender to receiver. Once if he wants to terminate the connection automatically how to be terminated. Can you able to understand this is a virtual circuit networks. So also the virtual circuit network using in the routing table, it is identified using in a global addressing. So global addressing is a, one of the unique address. It is used by the switches of only to create a virtual circuit identifier. So VCI this, represent to identify the data transfer the destination setup phase. So another one is a local address. The global address is represent the www. So represent in the manner. Local addressing using in a VCI. The actually who and all used in the data transfer. After that, the small address used by the frame between two switches, that is called in a local area network. So the index figure also represent the how to set up the request. So here receive the data using in the addressing manner. Okay, so this is the packet format of using virtual circuit. The switches of setup phase acts as a packet switch. It has a routing table is known as the output used in the port number. As it is a connection oriented communication of take example in a telephone system. So the data are transferred through in a switch 1 and then switch 2 and then switch 3 over the routing table. So this is the setup acknowledgement. When destination it is receives from frames, isn't it? Okay, so in a datagram virtual circuit in the forms of packets. So the receiver A and then receiver B, when establish the call, when request the manner during the data transfer. Okay, so the frame how to be decide when ready to receive the data from A, how to assign the virtual identifier. So the VCI, how VCI is, let's know the destination. It is know the whether it is how to be acknowledged. It is we have ready to transfer the data and ready to share the resources from A to B using in the VCI identifier. Okay, so it is know that the frames comes from A, not other sources. Okay, because only receiver A, sender A only make the connection and then establish the connection and disconnect the connection from each other. Then data transfer and T down phase once acknowledged using in a VCI, after sending it frames it a special frame and send it to the communication. So the destination B, it is fully response with a D down whether the confined frame reached to the receiver. So once the telephone communication is established, the resources are shared in a manner so during when the data is disconnected. Okay, so the data transfer is only sending all the frames, no allocated to the some other with some other calls. With example, in a some other making a person to call. So it is only allocated the frames to the source to destination. Okay. So T down phase is automatically disconnected to the data transfer from the one source to another one source of data. Okay. So this is the data transfer rate from the destination. Okay. How to find the delay in virtual circuit switching? So already known that in a packet switched datagram packet switched network, the time delay is depends on the propagation time and waiting time, isn't it? Okay, so the setup and read down delay is also calculated to using in a datagram network of virtual circuit network. So the each packet may experience a wait at a switch before it is forwarded. So during the time n packets are transferred, the datagram network how to be decide which is the first how to be transfer from one place to another one resources how to be used. Okay, so the messages are divided into frames. So the frames are the frames all are used. So some other resources are cannot allocate to the some other connection. So in datagram network, so the each packet may experience wait at a time to be forward. So the delay is not uniform for the packets of a message. So each network have to be decided. So how to calculate in this delay time? So total delay 3D propagation time and waiting time and then setup delay plus the read down delay how to be added using in a total delay time. So history of inverse delay time of networks, sorry, packet switched network and virtual circuit switching network. So finally, in this slide, we know that of difference between the circuit switching and the packet switching. So the differences are somewhat similar, but slightly same manner to sharing the resources and the communication of phase in one-to many. So the circuit switching and the packet switching are decided to establish the communication between one or more. So this is a call setup is required, call setup is not required. Then connection between two hosts it is not decided. The communication is lost if any link path between the host is broken. So the connection and the communication is broken between the two data. How many routers are between the host. So the bandwidth switches is fixed. It is a variable. The bandwidth utilization is partial. This is full. Transmission is not store and forward. This forward transmission also data are stored. This is transparent, it is not transparent. The charging in a time based, this only in a packet based the data is transferred. So this is the differentiate between circuit datagram and virtual circuit. So decided path, no decided path, no dedicated path. The same differences are used in this. Okay, the call setup delay, packet transmission delay. So the packet transmission delay depends on the call send. So overload is occurred for the both in a manner. Then fixed bandwidth, dynamic bandwidth. Here also dynamic bandwidth. So nowadays we have to use the insert of in a datagram type and the virtual circuit type. No overhead is occurred. Here overhead is occurred. Here also overhead occurred. So the same similar way of using in that in a packet switching network of datagram network and the virtual circuit network. So thank you students. Till now in this session discussed about switching network of packet switched network and circuit switched network. Thank you students.